Thank you for tuning in. This is our new way of doing our podcast. We're going to be doing them live. We tested this out last time and it worked really well. And Hello is with us again. I think Hello could be classed as a founder of Safehouse Podcast. She named it. She's been in every single one. And Milk's very interested. So these two people you'll see quite regular now. And we'll try and keep a regular team from here on out. And we'll get you guys involved in chat. So today's podcast is Year 6 announcement they did at Ubisoft Forward. They announced a whole roadmap for that. They announced Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3, kind of what to expect in each season, with little bit of detail, but not all details, if that makes sense. So it's left a lot of people confused and making their own assumptions and things like that. So we're going to go over it today. We're going to go over our opinions. We'll look at chat, see what you're talking about, and discuss some of your opinions. And as we said, let's keep it respectful. Let's not attack other opinions. It's absolutely fine to share yours, though. So welcome, hello, welcome, Milk, welcome, chat. I guess we should give a brief of what they've announced. Season 1 was one endgame. Season 2 is seasonal characters, Season 2.0. And then Season 3 is the DLC. And it is basically a different way to showcase your characters, character customization. So we're going to start with Season 1 and the one endgame. What do we think about that? Hello.
Meh.
Nah.
I like there's something different to do. But especially coming off the back of the whole Descent comms, there seems to be no imagination with these manhunts. That Keena's now trying to test us, isn't he? Which I like that concept. I'm not sure what we're going to prove by doing a couple control points, a couple bounties, and District Union, but I'll play it. So I mean, it's no different. I'm here for the storyline, but yeah, it was a bit meh.
I agree with you with the manhunt. I think because of Season 2.0, this manhunt has just get it over. But I mean, in terms of the one end game change, so bringing level 30 in with level 40, everybody having access to the content now, that side.
I like that. It's bringing the community in. It's bringing a lot more people in. But what I didn't like about that is people didn't have the choice. I think Warlords come out in 2020, and we're now in 24. So that's 4 years that people have chosen to stay at gear score for whatever reason. I just don't like they didn't have the choice. They have all just been said, right, okay, so now your gear score level 500 or whatever they are, and now they have to press the 40. But I like the idea. I like the way that they've done that. They've opened up the content. They've opened up a lot more players that might have gone, oh, I don't want to invest into things, or I don't want to put money into it. I know they still have to do Warlords, but I like that they've opened it up to the community and people can come in now and they can play things. But my thing was they didn't get the choice, which, again, I'm not a developer. I don't have anything to do with making games. I can barely get dressed, let alone develop a game. But I just didn't like there was no choice. But then it didn't affect me too much to make too much of an issue about it. But I love the idea of just getting people together and getting everyone up to that one end game stage.
Two biggest complaints are world tier removal. Why? And the next one is I paid for Warlords of New York, now everybody gets it free. So I've got my opinion all on this as well, but I think you kind of touched on that with the world tiers. What do you think about it, Mil?
I think it's a great thing. Before, people were playing sort of the initial release of the game. I mean, it was very good. That was the end game all the way up until Warlords of New York. I think the addition of Warlords sort of changed how the end game is, and that left people behind a paywall. So then if anybody bought the game, they would buy sort of like a trial. Like, here you go. You can still do some of the things that everybody else is doing, but you'll have to buy this DLC to gain access to the true endgame. Now, opening that up, I think they just gave everybody the same opportunities. They leveled the playing field. Anybody that wants to try this game, they don't have that question of, should I buy the DLC because they're already purchasing the game. Now they can actually play the game to its fullest extent, minus the things that are actually expansions. I think they did good with this. I think it's a smart business move because anybody that wants to start playing this game, or people that were stuck at 30 and weren't sure, they can come back. They have something to do. They have the incursion. They have the raid. And I think it just makes everything more accessible. I think it's friendly for the community. So all in all, it's a net positive.
It's kind of where my opinion kind of goes, is I think when you had the 30 end game and the 40 end game, you had all those level 30 people that were locked outside of so much, because I think that everything they added up till Descent was all Warlords of New York. You had to own that. So I'm talking Countdown, Iron Horse, I'm talking, I think that was it pretty much. But so all the seasonal stuff as well. So all the seasonal, exotic, seasonal gear. Level 30, basically when you got to level 30 endgame, I imagine that endgame wasn't much at all. You just had Dark Hours. So obviously people had the choice to buy the expansion, but then maybe they didn't have a good enough experience to warrant it. And I think their statistics probably tell them all. And they want to see some bigger feedback now. They don't, like you said, I don't think they want people to be locked behind that paywall. They want everybody to be able to experience their full game without having to buy the expansion. And then the expansion is just the map and the story now. So you're basically buying a campaign, right? But you get access to everything else. So if you want to do that extra campaign, you got to pay. And I think that's, like you said, a smart move. I think because we're so far in the game now, I guess this feedback's more important now than ever, because the Division 3 is going into production in the next year. So the Star Wars is finished. I think Star Wars is out August 30th. They're then going to be moving on to the Division 3. They're going to want as much feedback as possible with the stuff that they're going to trial and error. So I do think it's a good move. And I don't think it's that much of a big deal, is it? Like even you, Hello, said you got some concerns about it, but it's not really affecting you, right?
No. And what I think they've done really well as well is they've kept Warlords and they've put a bigger discount on it. If I remember rightly, it's a 75% discount on Warlords. I sound like I'm in an advert. Come buy Warlords for 75% off today. No, they've done 75%, so it's not like they've done it in underhandedly either. That okay, we're gonna tease you with level 40, but we still want 25 quid for the DLC. Like, my maths ain't very good today, but whatever 75% of 25 quid is, like they've kept it as that, whereas they could have said, we'll give you all of this, but it's still 25 quid. So I think that was quite good, where they're trying to be inclusive and they're trying to get players back in and things like that. That's a nice touch from them, I think. They technically didn't have to do it, but they have. So that's a tick for me.
Yeah. I think Warlords was about £4, £5, something like that. It's real cheap, wasn't it?
A big complaint.
With the discount.
I think so, yeah.
I was going to say, because, well, again, I'm
I
not
don't know. I was looking at it the other day, and I think it's on sale right away. They're doing a free weekend this weekend, and the game's on sale. I think the Division 2 you can purchase for about £7, £8, and I think Warlords was cheaper than that. I think so. It could be completely wrong, but they're both on sale, both real cheap if you want to buy it right now.
Yes, so they've probably done it that way so people didn't say, I have paid for this and that, and now they're getting it for free. If they want it free, £4, they can play the new storyline, but now they don't have to. And I do think it's a really good move from them.
Yeah.
I think there was a big complaint with people feeling like all of a sudden something that they paid for got undercut. And I think you're right about that. Offering a discount, that's good. And also, even if it were free and they just gave Warlords for free, I mean, consider it this way. That was what, end of 2020, beginning 2021. I mean, that's 3 years. I mean, how often do games just all of a sudden go free or become free to play and then have expansions?
That's what I want to touch on, Milk, just now. Sorry to butt in, but you think they're going a bit Destiny. So you're potentially going to have, they could make the Division 2 free to play. and then you've got Warlords to buy, Brooklyn to buy, maybe another expansion if they're just going to give us a few expansions up to Division 3 to buy.
I think that'd be a great way to go, because if we consider the classified assignments, that's something that was in addition to the game. It was extra story. You could play it. You bought it. You played it. You got what you paid for. With Warlords, there's a story. If you would like to progress that story and experience what is the foundation of this game, you can pay for it. I think continuing that sort of process, that's the way to go. I mean, it makes sense to me.
This could be what people aren't seeing as well of the next topic we go on to, which chat's already speaking about. Everyone's seen Seasons 2.0, and the biggest complaints about that is not being able to progress the story with your main character. But what if Seasons 2.0 isn't really going to be progressing the story anymore like we've got used to? The Manhunts have been progressing the story, haven't they, for the last year? What if now when Seasons 2.0 comes out, Seasons 2.0 is more about that engagement, which is what they've spoken about, giving us some real reason to play the game a little bit more often, and they're going to progress that story going forward through annual DLCs.
Yeah, I think they're really laying the foundation for new players to come in, or returning players to be at the same level as everybody else, and then having seasons that adds content, that gives us things to do. And when we're going to experience it very soon, come the next portion of the Manhunt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to find out. This is giving us something to do while we don't have a whole lot of content. And once that next DLC comes, now we have a heck of a lot more things that we can do on top of everything that comes with the DLC. I think it's a great move.
Yeah, I do. And another thing as well, I've seen a lot online, a lot of people said in chat that, they're catering for the noobs and the people that are new. And I just think veterans of this game will not help Division 3 succeed, because they've already got this sour taste. So we love the game, but there's a lot of negative. We were saying something similar last night. There's a lot of negativity in the community, not necessarily bad. It's because people care so much, but that negativity will go through onto a Division 3. They need a new fresher blood. They need new people. So going this way around it, getting people included, and as well, we've seen it ourselves, and obviously as a PC newbie, like, I will get kicked, well, not anymore, but I used to get kicked from Countdown for being shade level 10 on challenging or heroic. And I think, well, hold on, I've got hundreds of days on PS5. My build is absolutely fine. I know what I'm doing, but there's a stigma about new people. So this also helps for any future content, because if they're trying to get people into the game now and trying to get them on a level playing field, that suggests that there's new stuff coming as well that they want the new people to catch up with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's so obvious there's so much coming. And I've been like this in the past, and it hasn't. But I was telling Milk before this podcast, it's like they don't want to release anything yet because they want to get to the DLC first. I feel like once the DLC hits, they want it where the DLC lands, and we're going to get hit with quite a bit of content after that. And I think that's the plan. And pre-DLC, it just feels like they're just getting the foundations right. Or trying to get the foundations right, at least testing the foundations. I hope I'm right.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, we've been wrong before, but
Many
it seems like
times.
a lot more content is coming. They are having more people join their team again.
Mm.
You're not going to get more people in. You're not going to get more devs to come and work. You're not going to get more community managers and things if it's a game that's dwindling away and you're not going to produce content, because they would be working on Division 3 separately.
Yeah.
So...
And they included a Ubisoft Forward. Yeah. Ubisoft felt this was enough to showcase. So
exactly.
And a lot of the stuff they had the Ubisoft Forward, it was fresh. It was new. They were trying to give you all these brand new games. Here's your teasers. But they included Division pre-show, post-show. This is a game that has been, since 2019?
Yeah.
They gave them a chance to have some spotlight in the middle of something that's for everything that's brand new. I mean, it's promising, very promising for content.
I think so. I think it was last year at Ubisoft Forward, there was a lot of complaints because Division was about to announce a year 5 and it wasn't there. And people were like, don't you care about this game no more? And all of that. But I don't think there was a lot in year 5, to be honest with you. What did we get? Did we get Descent, an Incursion, and a lot of bug fixes? And they worked a lot on fixing the game. So they fixed the PC crashing issues, for example. I know there's a lot of people that will say they fixed nothing. They really do, if you look at it. The PC crashing issue was one of the biggest things they had. Like, people could not play the game. Hello, experience that. You would crash, every 2 minutes. If you were lucky, you'd get 10, 20-minute stint without a crash. That was such a big issue. And when they spoke of that, they said how complex it was and how they were struggling with it. They actually had to pay a third party to come in and help them with that problem, which they fixed. They fixed another 2,000 bugs, and we've seen graphically, I want to say, like behind the scenes, the amount of bugs that must have been holding back the graphics, because the graphical improvements on console and PC have been, I'd say, have improved twice in recent updates. So they are fixing a lot of stuff behind. They've had to spend a lot of time fixing that, and if you look on Twitter at some of the developers' posts, they say how they're quite proud of themselves, and when they came back to this game, it wasn't just about let's release new content. So another complaint that we get a lot is stop releasing content, fix the game first. And that's exactly what they've done in year 5, in my opinion. They've given us bits of content, but they've focused on the game and just bringing it back in line with where it should be in 2024. And it's a very complex game. So while they've been doing that, there has been issues at the same time. Like we've seen with the update yesterday or Tuesday. Took them a while to get it live, lots of bugs after it, but I think that's something that's just going to happen all the time now. People just got to accept that. It's nothing new. We see it all the time. They're working hard, and you can see that. And that was what year 5 was about. So that's why it wasn't at Ubisoft Forward. Whereas this time, they were happy enough to showcase this game and let them announce their plans for year 6 and going forward. And I do think that can only be positive. Do we move on to the next then? Are we ready to move on to the bit where a lot of people got a lot to say about seasonal characters?
Go on.
Seasons 2.0. This has been the biggest talking point. So one of the announcements was next season, we're going to have Seasons 2.0. Now, I'm just going to put my opinion out there right away. You guys know, if you watch the videos and you watch the streams, I'm very excited by this. I personally feel that... So what Seasons 2.0 is first, let's explain that. They're revamping the way seasonal content works. What is seasonal content? Well, seasonal content right now is your Manhunt, your League, your global events, your new gear, season track, exotics, things like that. They're revamping how they deliver that, and they want to deliver it in a better way because they're running out of ideas of how they can basically make it exciting, give us surprises. And they've done quite a good job in recent seasons of doing that story-wise. But in terms of the actual gameplay, I felt I'm going to be honest, and I said this at the time, I thought Seasons on the Division 2 and the first season came out way back in 2020 after Warlords of New York. I was expecting so much more back then. And it hasn't changed much since then. We are still doing the same thing that we did back then. The only thing that they've changed about it is that they made the manhunt shorter because they were so tedious. So it was bad from the get-go. It's still terrible now. So I'm excited that they're revamping this. Now, I think everybody's excited that they're revamping this and they want to revamp this, but what people are not happy about is they're going to do it in the form of seasonal characters. So, who wants to go?
There's a lot to tackle with this, and
I was going to say, let Milk go.
I was going to give it a.
I'm happy to.
All right, I'll pass a potato to. Yeah, you got it.
I agree with you. The amount of times I switch off for manhunts, the amount of times I go, I can't be bothered to do this. I will watch G do it. To the point that you stop doing it. And I'm like, I'll just catch up. I'll do it all. And you can. If you don't do any of it, the last day when it comes out, you can complete it all within an hour, hour and a half on normal. And that's if you're having your lunch in between. Like, it's not substantial enough to keep people interested. It's not. And this is what I said last night. You can go on to various YouTubers who will stream or put a video of what the storyline's going to be. You don't have to do it. As a player, what am I missing out on by not doing 2 bounties a week, 2 control points, and a mission? Like, I'm not losing out on anything. Maybe a little bit of XP, but I can go and run Lincoln Memorial and get just as much XP, if not more, doing that a couple of times. So, again, I feel like we're in the minority, but I'm looking forward to Seasons 2.0. I think it's a completely fresh take on what's going on. I think if they do it correctly, it'll be fantastic. Yes, people don't want to grind for gear again. They don't, but I don't know the exact wording they said, but it's going to be accelerated. So they're going to let people get to level 40 before the end of the manhunt. You only have to do the manhunt with that character. You don't have to veer off from that. I just don't see it.
So
and I am invested in this game. I am this is the only game I really play. And from day dot, I've been invested on the whole storyline. But I personally don't feel that much emotional attachment to my character that I'll be sad that I can't do the content with it. If that makes sense. It might be tedious to start with because I'll be running around with a purple build or whatever they decide to give us. But that's part of the fun for someone who's been playing this for so many hours and so many days of their life.
There's a few things I want to touch on, so I don't mean to jump in. I'll forget if I don't.
No.
So a few things you mentioned there and a few things are popping up in chat. So sort of quickly answer this. So you mentioned about being part of the minority. Now, I'm not quite sure about that. I do think the angrier people, the people that jump on the hate train are very loud. So it feels like you're part of the minority. And you did say to get a poll out, and I didn't. Hello, I forgot. It's been a mad day. But
let me see if I can find that post while you're talking.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Because I think, for the most part, people are misunderstood. I want to say that. I think for the most part, people just don't truly understand it, which is why I got the video out the other day. I just wanted to explain my thoughts and kind of add some clarity. But at the end of the day, we don't really know what's coming because they haven't discussed it in depth yet. We just know seasonal characters and we know the vision for it. And they stated their vision is just to turn this seasonal content into something that's more rewarding, something that you don't do once every 4 weeks, you do once every week. And they just wanted to give you more funner ways to play the game and experience the game as they intended. So I think there's more people open-minded about this than what we think. I think, yes, there's a lot of people that are unhappy about it and fully understand it at the same time, because I get it. You're going to have to start a new character to do the seasonal stuff. And I do get that. But we still don't know how that's going to work. So what we do is we think about other games that do that. And straight away we go to Diablo. That's the first one I went to when I thought about this. It's the only one I know that does this. From the Division's perspective, like they said, they're trying to bring it more in line with other seasonal content on games these days. They probably looked at games like Diablo and games that do this. But Diablo had it in right from the start. And I know Diablo's way is very extensive, and your new seasonal character practically becomes your main character, from what I've heard. Still fast-tracked and everything, but they had, I think Diablo 4 had a very bad... They had people not happy from the start with how they did it, and they adjusted, it got better in the end. But there's other games that do it, Path of Exile, Silent saying in chat, and it does work. You know, and this is the thing, it does work. These games are still going strong. People enjoy that format. So Division have looked at this and thought people enjoy that format. How can we add our spin on it? And I think the last thing they're going to try and do is force you to make these seasonal characters your mains. And I think that's that's the biggest complaint I'm seeing. People are feeling like the main characters are going to become redundant. And I really don't think that is the case. Some other thing, another big complaint, which is what I'm seeing in chat, is we don't want this change. We want content. And I get that, but that is coming. Like, content is coming. We can't forget the DLC that's coming. We can't forget that there'll probably be more incursions, more modes. I'm pretty sure this is coming. And as we've already discussed, I feel like they're just getting the fundamentals right first before they do that. So, it is a very hard one, and nobody's right or wrong because nobody knows. What have you got to add? What have you got to add? Hello.
Well, I mean, we don't know. Sorry, Milk, to jump in, but the people that are moaning, again, I'll probably get hate. I don't mean it the way I'm saying it, but the majority of the people that are moaning because they didn't want this, they want new content. We don't know that Massive aren't going to give us new content. We don't know that weekly there's not going to be a legendary, obviously there's not going to be a legendary, but something similar or a change to one of the missions. So what we are doing, it might be the same, but it might be completely different. We've not had that communicated to us. So at the moment, the people that are on the hate train are dead set on wanting new content. But again, we don't know if there's new content. Until we get further information, I do get the hate, but I don't get the hate. Because it could be new content.
See, when I think of seasons,
I'll let Milk speak.
I think of other games where all of a sudden, here's the season of such and such. I mean, if you compare it to Destiny or Diablo, all of a sudden you have this theme. You go into your seasonal character and it follows that theme. Like right now, how we play this game, every once in a while we get these nice little events like Golden Bullet, Hollywood, and people enjoy these. Now imagine all of a sudden you go into your seasonal character, you have your option for your Hollywood, your Golden Bullet, any of these modifiers. Like it totally changes your experience as a player. I mean, if they give you something that makes the game unique and fresh, they give you something to grind for, and they give you that theme, I think this is a win. So what's coming? I don't know. But if I were to compare it to other games, there's gonna be something. Like, I would love all of a sudden we have Golden Bullet. You go into your season. This is your Golden Bullet season. That'd be something related to however they're going with the storyline. But that modifier is going to make these seasons playable. It's going to make it different. It's going to be fresh. We'll have a character, grind it out. If you want to go back to the normal open world, just the same way that you've been playing the game since day one, go ahead. If you want to play the season, change of pace. I think this is going to be good. I have high hopes. And maybe that's a bad thing because, you set the bar high. You don't know how low it could get. But I think they're in a phase of trying things out before the next year comes out. Like, we're going to have Seasons 2.0, and it's going to be a trial phase. And I think adding that to the game is another layer. I'm looking forward to it.
So again, just going to butt in, because this seems like a good window. Some things to touch on there with what you said. I absolutely agree with you, Milk. But something that someone's put in chat as well. We know the DLC's coming, but we want new content. I feel like Seasons 2.0 is just going to be a rerun of what we're already doing. 100% it is going to be, but with a spin. So like Milk was just saying. So from what I read from their document, excuse me, touch on what Milk was saying, with this new seasonal character, there's going to be modifiers. There's going to be ways that they can allow you to play the game that's a bit more fun. So you'll be doing the same again. And I asked this question to someone in my comments the other day. So what's so special about Seasons now that you love? And how much time do you spend on Seasons now? Can anybody truthfully answer that? Like, I'll answer how much time I spend on Seasons now. I'll spend as little time as possible on the manhunt because it's just a boring grind. I'll get that done on normal as quick as possible to get the lore. That's all I'm interested in. The climax mission is great. I enjoy that. I put it up to heroic. So across the whole season, an hour and a half on manhunts. Leagues, I can't remember the last league I took part in. I think I got a few pack trophies for the last season, actually. But still, that's done in about, 30 minutes? So 2 hours tops, so up to about 3.5 hours in the 4 months. Global events, don't really touch. In this season, or last season, we did do a few legendary global event challenges for fun. They're quite cool. So you could probably add, I don't know, my time on global events last season to about 10 hours. I had the season track and I had the apparel events. All in all, across 4 months, I probably got around 20 hours, 24 hours, 30 hours tops of gameplay. Now, what they're trying to do is turn that 30 hours across 4 months into a little bit more, probably, and just something more fun. Because in that 30 hours, most of it was quite boring. I'm just replaying the same stuff, the same way, with my same OP builds. I'm just doing I'm doing the same control points, I'm doing the same projects, and everything's just the same. It's not really rewarding. It's quite dull. I feel like with Seasons 2.0, they can put a spin on that without giving us new content. So they're in a position where I believe they can make the game more fun without actually giving us more content. And they can do that by, here's a seasonal character, here's a bunch of fun modifiers, and we're going to have activities each week for you to take part in where you're going to be progressing. I was speaking to Hello's partner yesterday, and he made a great call. What if, what if in your new seasonal character as well, they added a progression system? So not only do you have a more fun way to do all the same stuff we're doing, more engaging way of doing, let's say, but what if, obviously your expertise won't be there, your watch level won't be there. What if they give you like a seasonal artifact, and on this artifact, that's your progression throughout the season? So I'm saying seasonal artifact because of Destiny, right? But you get this artifact, and this is your progression now. So there's no watch, there's no expertise. And you'll be leveling this up, and it's going to give you some quite insane boosts. So by the end of the season, you're actually really powerful. More powerful than you would be on your main character, say. In a fun way. There'll be a theme around it every season. You'll level it up, you'll get it maxed out, say. This isn't what they're going to be doing. I'm just giving you an example. But I'm kind of getting to say that there's so much they could do with this because they're taking it away from the main game. It's on its own server. They could really shake things up. And I think the other big complaint is they're taking the story to your seasonal character. And they don't want to go through the story with a brand new character. They want to do that with the main. The main character's gone through the story from start up to now. I'd like to think what I said before might come into play, and the story won't be used as much in the seasonal, and hopefully we go down the route of annual DLC campaigns. But we really don't know. We really don't know anything. Yeah, shout out to Mad Dog. But these are lines worth thinking about, right? This is the lines we're thinking about. We're trying to think, well, what can they do with that seasonal character? Rather than...
Do you want my theory now?
Go on, let's have your theory.
My theory. Okay. So everyone sit down.
Excuse me, I'm sitting.
Brace yourself.
Go on.
So I was sitting there thinking when this first came out, why on earth is we're spending this whole season with Kina trying to recruit us, so me as my main character, for Seasons 2.0 to not be me? And then I thought, well, hold on. Kelso went rogue last season when she become Kina's friend. What happens if Seasons 2.0 we can't play because we are rogue? So for whatever reason, the storyline takes us in that direction, and we don't have access to the network. We don't have access to our watch. We don't have access to all of the shade tech and all of that malarkey. They can't just not let us play for a season until the DLC. That's where the second character comes in that has to start from the beginning, because you're just playing as a randomer. If that was the storyline, which don't get me wrong, probably not. But if that was the storyline, would people still be in uproar as they are now? Because I wouldn't. Imagine that.
People would be so hyped to think that in the DLC we're going to be Rogue. How many people have asked for a Rogue storyline? They wouldn't care what Seasons was about. They'd be just get me to the DLC. I want to be Rogue.
We go from Isaac to Anna. We go from shade skills to whatever Natalia Sokolova came out with. Yes.
Yeah, because this is the thing. There is no reason why So unless Aaron Keener kills us at the end of this season, that's another theory, but that's not going to happen. But this is what I'm saying. What's the reason as to why our character cannot get involved next season? So if you think outside the box, we're either rogue, dead, gone on holiday. I don't know, but this is what I'm saying. We don't know what's going through Massive's head, and we don't know what their storyline is. But it could be something like that.
I think a successful Seasons character is going to be an alternate experience that's going to be leaving you gripping, enthralled within this game.
Yeah.
Being able to all of a sudden be Rogue, that'd be incredible. Maybe that's a season where all of a sudden you're Rogue for the first time. Like we have first Rogue right now for year 6, season 1. Well, season 2, you're Rogue. Like, we could have something. I mean, I think you're onto something with that, and yeah, that'd be incredible.
That would be incredible. A few things in chat again, just to pick up on. It's sad that their answer to new content is a new character. Again, new content is coming. I can't stress that enough. This is the last time I'm going to say this podcast. We have a DLC planned, and I think it's safe to assume there'll be new modes and there will be new incursions and things like that down the line. So new content is coming. That's 100% confirmed. This season's 2.0 is looking at current content and delivering it better to you. And I can't say it's clear as that. It's as clear as daylight. It's not about giving you new content. It's about making the current content they give you better. But new content is coming. So go on, Mel.
I think it's another experience in addition to the content that's coming. So although we don't have a lot of content right now, they will be releasing that. And I think this is just an extra layer to the Division onion. Like you got so many layers. Now we got another thing. I think for the time being, maybe some people won't be too happy about that, but I look at it from the standpoint of this is foundation building. These are the building blocks for the game to come. This is going to be in addition to more content.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
And these were filler seasons as well. Because the DLC should have come out by now. So, do you know what I mean? We're getting something new for the filler seasons. And as well, it's a completely different game mode, don't get me wrong, but survival. So one of the biggest things in Division 1 was survival. People still play it now. You played it the other day. You're doing the same thing in that. You're not going in as your character, are you? Oh, well, you might go as your character, but you start from level 1. You start with nothing.
You start with nothing, yeah.
So people weren't that emotionally attached to their guns and things in Division 1 that it stopped them going into survival. But I think it must just be me. I'm just too looking forward to something new that I just keep thinking of these things that, like you, because I was thinking the other day, oh, when I go in survival, what's the point of me getting gear for my player? And then I thought, hold on, it's no different to 2.0. But I think
to some
they're
extent,
just completely different.
I think they're introducing us to another alternate experience currently within this season. Right now, we're learning what it's like to work with Anna. Anna's taking us around. So although this season right now did not have a lot of content to the story, we're not being guided by Isaac anymore. All of a sudden, we're getting acclimated to what it's like with Anna. So I think they're giving us a little taste right now. This is just a very small speck of the things to come. Wait for Anna.
Wait for
Anna
Anna.
over Isaac.
I'm pretty sure they couldn't hint any more that we're going to be going rogue. And that excites me. That's a storyline I wanted. One thing I said in chat, they can't lock us out from our main characters. So again, that ain't gonna happen. Your main characters are still gonna be a thing. How I see this game is, think of it as stepping stones. So you buy the game. We've played this since 2019, many of us. But let's say you buy the game back then or whenever you buy it. Your first task is to get now to level 40. You get to level 40, you get your watch, you get all the end-game content. Your end-game content, I guess, your pinnacle is raids, incursions, legendaries. So you want to grind your watch level out to make yourself powerful. You want to grind your builds for that. You also want to work on your expertise. Expertise isn't really even needed. That's kind of like the last bit, right? So you grind your builds, you get your watch level, you then complete your raids, you get all the loot. You complete your incursion, you get all the loot. You complete your legendaries, you get all the loot. Now, not thinking lore, story, anything like that, just thinking about the player and playing this game for fun, which games are, and trying to keep us engaged. Once you've done all that, your next stepping stone is seasonal content, PvP, which in the Division 2 I personally think is quite poor. That's about it. Your expertise. So that's your ultimate end game right now. You've got expertise to make yourself even more stronger. You've got PvP. And you've got your seasonal content. And judging by the statistics, I don't think the seasonal content is currently keeping people. So with seasonal content now, I believe with Seasons 2.0, it's really, I think, broadening that final step. Where when you come to do that, it's not a case of just coming on because of a chore, doing it as quick as possible. Hopefully it becomes an experience that you want to engage in. And someone else has posted there again, I've done all this with my main character. I don't get why my main character, you want your main character to continue with the story. You want your main character to be in it from start to finish. I think it's more important that you're involved in it as the player. I think I get your attachment to your character. I'd also like to think that these new seasonal 2.0 characters, they're not going to really put too much story progression in there. It's more going to be a mini story within the world of the Division. The DLC in Brooklyn's going to be the main story, and your main character is still going to be what you use when you get your DLC campaigns. Still going to be what you use when you get your new incursion, when you get your new raid, when you get your new game modes. That is still going to be main character. But just a few things to touch up on of what I saw there. Is there anything you guys want to add to Seasons 2.0? Milk, hello.
Well, just so I remember, the poll from Reddit. So the three options were with the seasonal characters. I like it, keep playing. Seasonal characters are trash, goodbye, and I don't care. So it is 184 people have said I like it, keep playing. 851 people have said seasonal characters are trash, goodbye. And 264 have said I don't care.
Say it again. What are those numbers again? Sorry, I missed the middle one.
So I like it, keep playing is 184.
Yeah.
Seasonal characters are trash, 851, so 851. And 264 people don't care. So there's been over 1,000 votes, and well over half is seasonal characters are trash.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is yet.
We don't know what it is yet, no.
And I think it's going to be another way to keep the game fresh.
Sparta.
I'm looking forward to it.
You're asking a lot from me there. I struggled to read it off my phone. Just normal numbers.
But this is based on nothing we know. It's based on seasonal characters. It's based on the thought process of like someone in chat thinking our main character's not going to be a thing, and it's. I think it's based on a lot of misinformation, and I don't mean purposeful misinformation, but a lot of assumptions and a lot of guesswork. This is what this is based on, yeah. Because we're thinking seasonal character, yeah. Because I do think the communication was quite clear myself. When I'm reading that communication, I'm reading it how I feel I'm delivering it myself now. So I'm struggling to see why we think that this seasonal character is going to take us, this is going to become our main character. I know when we think of Diablo, we think like that because that's how Diablo does it. But I don't think the developers are going to make us throw away 5 years of work on our character. I don't, I for some reason, that'd be shooting yourself in the foot, surely. I don't know why they'd make us do that. I do simply see it as a better way to deliver the seasonal content to be more engaged and actually give us more to do. Like, for example, once I'll jump on the first week of my seasonal character and I'll do the objectives. And then once I've done the objectives, I'm going to go back to my main. Because the main's where I'm going to be focusing on what I'm doing right now, whether that's working towards my first raid completion, whether that's working towards my first incursion, whether that's working towards getting my builds together to take on legendaries, whether I'm working towards my watch, whether I'm working towards my expertise. That's where I'm still going to be spending most of my time because that's the main character. If I wanted to play like that, I imagine they're going to have it set up where I could do that, just spend a couple of hours a week on the seasonal character, and by the end of the season, I'll still get everything. I also imagine there'll be something in place where for the people that have done everything I just mentioned, they've got everything. They don't need no more raids. They don't need no more legendaries. They're waiting for content. They're waiting for that DLC. I'm sure there'll be something in place where they can keep on grinding on that seasonal character as well. How they do that, though, I don't know. And that's what nobody knows. We don't know how they're going to do that. That's where I'm at in my head. But 800, well, over half of the people are just calling them trash already.
Yeah,
like you
we
said, it's
won't
from
know
people not
until we do
reading
it.
it or. But I think the Massive have come out and said that nearer the time, won't they? They'll do one of their state of the games and they'll explain it a bit more in depth.
Yeah,
So
I think they said there's going to be a summer event in August, which is a month or two before season 2. I imagine we'll get full details then. Who's to say that you can't still do the seasons like you can now? Who's to say that that will still be a thing for people that don't want to do seasonal characters? Do you think that's something they could do? Like, I doubt it's hard. Few leagues, go and do some control points, go and do some bounties. It's not exactly like the current seasonal format's extensive, right? Like, they might see this feedback from people and think, well, you can still do the same old stuff if you want to then. Still get the comms. I guess that's all we get. We get comms. Like, I'd probably like to see the option of doing the season track on either one. I don't know. They're going to see all this feedback. And they only know what's going on. They might be seeing this feedback and just be like, people got nothing to worry about. They've got this wrong completely. Or they might be seeing this feedback and think, hell, we need to adjust this a little bit.
yeah, so they tweeted yesterday, or what is it, X now? How do you even say it anymore? I'll say tweet. People know what that is. They said, we're currently in the process of preparing an extended communication to provide a more detailed explanation of the new seasonal journey. So that was yesterday they tweeted that out. Just to add to
that soon then, because we do need more clarification. That's something I 100% agree with. Mackie says there going to be new modes or areas for seasonal characters or just new character for seasonal events that we currently have. It's going to be a new server, Mackie. It's probably still going to be done through all the current stuff that we have, but they speak about modifiers, don't they? They're going to be modifying how you do that.
I mean,
I'm
I think
quite
if they're
intrigued
doing
about
this
the
right,
new mission. Sorry, the mode. Sorry, Milk.
Oh, I was just saying, I think if they're going to be doing this right, the seasonal character is going to be for the person that is very heavily invested into the game. If you don't want to participate in that, you still have the same game that you've always been playing. And hopefully you can still access whatever the seasonal storyline is, regardless of the seasonal character. I just think being able to have the main and the seasonal, it just gives you a lot more to play. I like it for adding to the game. And if they're doing it right, both options, where somebody that doesn't have a lot of time to invest in the game, still log in, do a couple checkpoints, do a couple bounties, done. But for the people that love the game, want to play it every day, they want their different experience, I really hope that they nail it. Like I think that's what the seasonal character is intended for.
Yeah, it should be, because going back to my stepping stone, this is the final stepping stone. Once you've done everything, the seasonal content should be what keeps you on the game. And so it is for the most invested, right? You know what? I was speaking to Raddy yesterday. He called me. He said, there's a right backlash on the Division, I see, as always. I was like, yeah. He says, what? From what I've read of this, he said, actually sounds like I might play the game. So it's boring as hell right now. That's why I don't play it. I don't know. Sounds good, doesn't it? He says, sounds brilliant. Something like this would get me playing it again. It's mad. You have one end of the stick, like Raddy, who thinks the game's proper boring. Something like this is going to make him play it, and you have the other end of the stick where you think this is going to destroy it. And this is what Massive have to deal with, all these opinions. I just hope they stick to the guns. I think they should stick to the guns, try it, get the feedback from it, and reevaluate if needed. That's what I do when I'm doing Discord or something. At the end of the day, a decision needs to be made, and they're the ones to make it.
I was trying to think the other day if there's anything that they've had backlash like this before, that they've reverted what they were going to do. The only thing I can think of is, they wouldn't let us swap our gear last season. And the outcry on that made them revert the changes until a further date. That's the only thing I can think of. But other than that, every other complaint that has been, they've not changed it. So I might be wrong, and someone in chat might be able to say, oh no, this or this. But so I don't know. I don't think they will change it.
I think they'll stick by it, try it out, see how it goes. I mean, something like the being able to swap weapons and gear, I mean, that's a functional gameplay change. I mean, it's bad enough going into the shooting range and you want to try something out and go to switch something and you got to go out in the hallway. No, thank you. And I'm glad that they don't have that for the rest of the game.
Determined rework. They went back on that as well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think it goes through here, and a lot of people, like, even when you had those stats out before, 800 people were completely against it. There's still half of that were like, either I'm excited or can't care less. So it's double the amount of people on that one poll that are just already hating it without even knowing what it's going to be, by the way. But I do think we just need to see it and give it time. They're obviously trying new things, and I think change, in human nature anyway, whenever there's change, it's hard to change. People can find it hard to accept change, and I think a lot of that could be this as well. It might be great.
I think a lot of that I think that's loaded with people that are saying no, don't do it, because they're not getting what they want, which is content now. So they'll say no to seasons because they just want their content now.
Yeah.
I don't think that poll accurately reflects people in their opinion on seasons. We won't get that until we actually try seasons.
Exactly. That's when I'm interested in that figure, exactly for what you just said. Who's saying I hate the idea just because they want the next incursion? Just because they want the next raid?
This climax mission, I was thinking about the other day as well. They've said it's to be done in, recommended in a 4-person squad.
Yeah.
It could be like an incursion.
Tony said exactly the same thing.
They said it's completely different. And if you look at, I can't remember what they're on the bit that it did at Ubisoft Forward, the bit where it showed the climax mission, you had your character in the middle of a street, like your little red dot, and you had enemies coming from all sides of you. And you could see the arrow moving round where your character's turning to try, almost like a horde mode. So if you read into that, that could be some sort of It could be a mini incursion.
Tony said
And
the
then,
same thing.
Yeah. I have no issues spending the season trying to get my character up to a level where I can compete in an incursion. And if you word it like that, I don't think anyone in the player base that wants new content, unless they want it easy, but like if you word it like that, okay, what we need you to do is start a new character. You've got 4 months to get to a level where you can participate in a 4-man incursion. Other than obviously solo players, but that would be like, for me, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of elements like that in the game, isn't there? You know, raids aren't for solo, incursions aren't for solo. So the climax mission is definitely for solo, but then that's the next step, isn't it? There's going to be the master difficulty, which is intended for 4. And I agree, like that in itself could be great content. Incursion level. Like Holy said, this could be a great way of kind of like releasing incursions every season without them officially being incursions. Like, they're just going to be a very hard, difficult mission to take on, like an incursion is, right? I don't know. We know nothing until we see it. I'm definitely excited by it though, because I think we're going to end this segment now for Seasons 2.0. I think it's obvious, it's controversial. It's evident there's a lot of people that don't like the idea for whatever reason that is, but also there's a lot of people who also like the idea. And 100%, we still don't know exactly what it entails. We kind of have no idea, apart from the fact that we're going to have seasonal characters. So I'd like to see this conversation again once it's been out, once we've seen exactly what it is, and we'll make sure we have this conversation again then, because I think that is when the feedback's got to count. I'd hate to see them go back on this or make too drastic changes just because our feedback now, because we haven't seen the full picture. It's like judging somebody and only hearing one half of the story right now, if that makes sense. We want the other half, which is all the details, or we can make an informed decision. That's something I think we can all agree on.
I do. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's pretty good. And that climax mission sounds pretty dope.
It does sound dope. It sounds proper dope. I can't wait for that. I hope it's harder than Legendary. Or Legendary Standard. Okay. We're going to move on to the final part then. Season 3, DLC, and character customization. Let's start with the DLC. We've kind of touched on it. Are we going rogue?
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do some bad things. Yeah. I mean, for the right cause, of course.
I was going to say going rogue just means going off the network.
Does.
So,
just
yeah, I think
doing
100% we have to. How are we going to find Faye Lau in Brooklyn without coming away from Isaac?
I mean, do you
Faye
really
Lau?
think Faye Lau is still here?
She is there.
Oh, come on.
She lives in Brooklyn.
There is a
That's where
hint,
she's
though.
from.
Did you see the trailer where Faye Lau's on the laptop and Aaron
That's what I
Keena
said
comes
to you.
in one-popping everybody with his one-shot build? And you said it, didn't you? It didn't fully load. That was a kind of hint. I think maybe.
Decoy. Keener's running determined.
It's definitely running determined. Everyone died in one bullet from a sidearm. It was like Regulus. Oh no, they're all blown up in one, weren't they? E50.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've got to be going rogue, haven't we? And the whole way this, like Anna, they've got a voiceover for Anna, right? They ain't just done that. I think you touched it. You hit the nail on the head before. We're going to have this as our AI talking to us in the next season, I think, in the DLC.
Yeah, we're just getting a taste right now.
Yeah.
They even have comms talking about Anna. And it's kind of controversial in those comments because Anna is snarky, a little bit sassy, maybe too much. So I think Anna's going to be pretty sweet. We'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. Yeah.
As long as they've given her more dialogue than cold, hot, over here. Oh, no, she didn't say that, but she might as well have. Oh, getting hot.
part of it.
Like, please pay the person to say more words than that. I can't go a season with that.
Scrub says
Yeah.
Faye on the computer also had both eyes.
See, she's looking at us.
Oh,
True. That is true.
I have hope that Faye is still alive just to stop the madness that was us killing her. Rogue or not, killing the president or not. But she's from Brooklyn. That's where she's from.
So where do we think this season will end? So this season ends and we're going to have another season before the DLC. So at the end of the season, we're obviously going to go face to face with Aaron Keener. Last time we did that, we tried to kill him. Well, before we did kill him, but we didn't. And surely the decision's being made there, whether we're going to join him or not, right?
Well, I think it's strange that Kelso's gone rogue and not so none of these, I don't know, Benitez or Manny. There was nothing at the beginning of this season to say that she had gone rogue. Other than obviously at the end of last season, she goes red on the manhunt. You would think there'd be some sort of dialogue from one of these main characters to say, oh, I can't believe she's done this. Or so it makes me think that they don't know that we are following Anna now, that they don't know about this. And that's where we could turn rogue at the end, because Benitez, Manny, they find out that we've been doing this with Keener, and then we go rogue. But I thought there would be something at the beginning with Manny going, oh, I can't believe she did that. Like, she's our friend, or she was family.
Filler seasons again, no. The DLC was meant to be now, wasn't it? So this is all filler. So maybe that's why we didn't have like a cut. I reckon we're meant to go straight into the DLC now.
Mm.
So they're gonna fill it somehow.
See, right now I think it is filler, and I mean, as they described it, an alliance with Keener and his rogues could be the key to stopping Natalia Sokolova in the Black Tusk. But what will the cost be? What is the cost? Is that going to be our good standing with Isaac? Because if you consider last season, at the very end, there's a portion where Kelso is in the van, and all of a sudden her watch goes red ring. She looks down, sees it, shakes her head, sort of in disgust. So, like, it's, what is the cost? Then they say, can Keener be trusted? Is he the enemy of our enemy, truly our friend? Like, I think right now we're trying to figure out what the play is. Where's Keener's standpoint? And then at some point, are we going to go rogue? Is that the cost? I mean, right now we're working with Anna, which is in the back channels of Isaac. It shouldn't be something that we have access to. It's part of the rogue network. I mean, we're halfway there. So, in terms of filler, I think we're going somewhere. We're working towards something, and it's a slow build up, a culmination to the DLC.
What do you think about Keener's watch going yellow?
I think that really shows that even the rogues can still be, I don't know, good, if you will. And it also shows, I mean, if it's not like a good or bad, it shows that they still have access to Isaac. So I'm split between the good or bad, because that's how Isaac operates. But also, like, whenever it goes red, that's part of the rogue network. So it could just be as simple as utilizing a different network and knowing that other, I don't know, people that shouldn't be involved in that network, they have access to it. So,
what's in the box? We think that's a server, don't we?
Aren't those the
Yeah, I
mobile
think it was.
shade?
Yeah.
I think it's that spot. Here's a good one. So when we got the DLC for Warlords of New York, we got reintroduced to Outcasts and Cleaners, correct? Bar One says, I wonder if we are going to be reintroduced to LMB in Brooklyn.
I hope so.
I think
Because
that's
even
been
Grand
Didn't they
Washington
get killed
Hotel.
off? Or
Don't
didn't they
know.
turn
I mean-
into True Sons? Or something along those lines. I'm sure someone told me that once.
Anything.
True Sons, I think that was what Antoine Ridgway, he was a JTF officer, split off and started the True Sons. I think a lot of these factions, they start from something and then they divert to different directions.
Would LMB not have gone
Like
to
the
Black
LMB?
Tusk then?
I think Black Tusk is a separate entity that's funded by Sokolova.
No.
I'm sure someone told me once that they went to True Sons or something. That's. I might be lying. I might have dreamt it.
Augustus is saying LMB and True Sons went to Black Tusk.
I mean, I can see a lot of people switching sides. There's one thing in Grand Washington, there's a monitor in there saying the speaker conferences, and the LMB is a portion on that. So I don't exactly have the timeline in front of me, and I don't have that little announcement on the wall, but the LMB was a part of something at the Grand Washington Hotel.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I really do hope we run into the LMB, because that's going to be a throwback from Div 1. I mean, that's going to be great.
It would be great. So back to the watch thing as well. They were just answering New Milk. The red is Rogue, orange is Division, why yellow? I think the yellow probably signifies the in-between. Something you mentioned as well in the cutscene, Milk. You watched the cutscene for the first... You were looking over the cutscene today and you said, did you notice that when Kelso's watch went red, she shook her head?
Yeah.
Kind of like she's doing this for the greater good. She's doing this for what we believe in. Kind of like shaking her head and going rogue. Like, why? Maybe that's
like
yellow.
She doesn't want to go rogue.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go rogue. So maybe that's
But
what the
she
yellow
technically
signifies.
is.
Yeah, technically is. And then maybe that's
Now-
why his watch is yellow, because that's Aaron Keener as well.
Are we like, is this just as simple as like they added another color to these watches? Because I legitimately have not noticed the yellow. I thought it was always like
Nah,
orange versus
Stacey.
red, or people saying like yellow instead of orange. You know,
I
it's-
thought it was orange when I saw it. Stacey noticed it as well. But I think people are saying it's actually yellow. But yeah, Keener's watch isn't red no more.
So if it's yellow, I mean, this could be a combination of both networks and having access to both networks.
It could
Like
be.
if we're looking at it on a color system, that might be it.
There's another
Not
network,
sure.
isn't there? There's Isaac, Anna, and Fred or
Diamond?
something. I can't. Diamond, that was it. I wonder if Diamond's yellow.
That's a
Diamond is
rabbit hole I have no idea about, honestly.
I believe Diamond is the Black Tusk's version of the Rogue and the SHD network. And he was going into that bunker, wasn't he? Because he smashes through a door at Lincoln, and there's no door in Lincoln that he smashed through. So
Yeah,
I'm wondering
Diamond's
if that's where they're that Natalia's bunker is for the hunters, or it's not her bond of the hunters, is it? That's the other guy.
Yeah, Calvin McManus.
Yeah, so unless it's something to do with Diamond, because
And
we wouldn't, because Anna's always been on the Rogue network. So maybe that other tech that we've picked up is to give us access to Diamond's network, which then ties into the Black Tusk theme that we're trying to go after Natalia. I never thought about that.
story is very exciting, isn't it? Robbie makes a good point about like Aaron Keener being good again. You know, didn't he create the red poison stuff? How could he explain this away as ever being good? See, Aaron Keener has done some bad things, right? I don't follow all the lore. I really don't. So, like, he's been a naughty boy, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair to.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment. Absolutely.
But then is there the arc where he is doing it for the greater good, though, or is there an arc where we can find out why?
I think that's
Well,
part
we're
of the
getting
reason
that,
why we
aren't
don't
we?
know if we can trust.
Yeah.
Because
Have
he's
you
done some
listened to
bad
his Manhunt
things.
comms
Yeah.
where he's like, no, we need 2 more weeks before I only briefly went through them, but the comms, if you looked at it as in a timeline point of view, he's almost trying to stop what's happening. So he's trying to get that Bridget to do something, and then the division gets there first and ruins what he was going to do. But he sounds like he was doing it for the good at that time. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll have to listen to the comms again, but there's something. And he was like, the division are pushing it now. And he's like, no, I need 2 weeks. You've got to stall them. It was like he was trying to do something to stop the catastrophe that was going to happen in the storyline. I'll have to listen to it again for next time.
Shady red poison.
Go on, Mel.
Well, I was just thinking the red poison could have been his way to stall people as he's trying to set up the rogue network, because supposedly there's so many of these mobile shade units, and over at I'm drawing a blank on the mission, but at the Statue of Liberty, that was supposed to be like the signal amplifier for the rogue network to truly expand. So that could have been part of his method to slow things down. If he needed 2 weeks to set this up, then that could have been part of it, and essentially using a virus that as a weapon to aid his cause for the greater good. Who knows?
I think it was before the Feilau mission. You've not got a game up, have you, to play the comms?
I haven't.
No. I'm pretty sure it seemed like, because the Bridget was involved, it was something to do, I'm sure it was the Feilau mission. So when we would be going to, through her manhunt, he says something like, no, Bridget, we're not ready. And he's like, the division, because he gave us the clues to where the president was when you listen to the comms.
Yeah, I heard that.
So he's been trying to help us inadvertently, and I think we'll find out more during this season's manhunt of all the times where he's tried to get involved.
He was actually helping us on that. It was like, okay, not without us knowing. It's a hard one, isn't it, with Keener? Like, didn't he set a bomb off killing hundreds of civilians? Shady says, I think there's an element to him doing this for the right reason, but also his own right reasons play a part. Depends on what side. The Fallen Tote says, do the means meet the ends? The one thing certain for Aaron Keener is he does have a goal. He has an end, and he'll do anything to get to that end.
I think he had a lot of people that we had to take out through the process of our manhunts. Those were people on his squad. He had a whole bunch of people that were sort of pawns within his game to achieve whatever his end goal is. In this scenario, we might be one of those. We might be doing something for the greater good, for the cause, the vision that he sees. Maybe at some point, that's when we end up having a rift, because we are just a pawn. We're another piece in his puzzle.
And he needs us, by the sounds of it. Which is why he's put us through this test, and why he's also got Kelso, why he needed Feilau. He now needs us. I do think this is going to lead into the DLC. I think it could be a DLC where we work with Keener in Brooklyn. Feilau might be alive. Who knows? And it is exciting. I can't wait for him. We could probably talk about this all day. Is there anything you guys want to add before we move on to character customization?
I just think at some point we're going to find out the division has some bad apples. And I think Keener left it off at the end of last season when he said Cal's division, Calvin McManus's division. So I legitimately think we have whatever his role was, Secretary of Homeland Security. I think somehow we're going to find out he's the president and he's the one in charge of the division. And I love that. I'm going on a tangent. Yeah, do your thing, man.
And Paul Rhodes, I'm telling you, I've been saying this for years. That guy's dodgy. Mark my words. There's something dodgy about that guy. I think he's working with other people, not us.
On Liberty Island, Keener did say, "Do you trust Paul Rhodes?"
Exactly.
He did.
He's the tech guy, right? We have Isaac, which is corruptible, and we have Anna. I mean, for whatever reason, Keener, good or bad, he's working with Theo. That's his tech guy. What do we know about Paul Rhodes?
Right.
Right.
I hope we find out. Yep.
As well as the DLC, then, this comes with Season 3 of Year 6. We are getting better character customization. And I think this could be a very quick one. I don't think there's many people that this ain't controversial, right? We're going to have better character customization options. Sykes is very excited about this. I think this is probably the biggest announcement for her in Year 6. What do we think this is going to be? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I think this is going to be another way to potentially make some more money through cosmetics, giving us more options, giving us also more options to buy new stuff. What do you guys think? It can only be positive in a way. You're not forced to do anything, making our characters look better than they do now. And what did they say? Did they say display our achievements better as well? What do you think they mean by that?
I have no idea, honestly.
Milk doesn't care about this at all.
Yeah, even starting a character, I get an pick. I mean, don't give me too many hair colors, hairstyles. No, thank you. Not for me. But somebody will buy it, and I appreciate that. Help fund our DLCs. Yes. Do it. Go for it.
I think with character customization, this is something that's in every game now, and it makes money. I think it is important. It's a great way to support the game. It's a great way to look great at the same time. I'm all for it. I like it. I think the character customization's good as it is right now, so I'm quite intrigued as to what they're going to do to make that better. And I'm really intrigued on the show off your accomplishments more. Is this going to be tied in to the crafting benches patch system? It was added last season. It's still there now. We haven't been able to do anything with it. Are we going to be able to maybe create our own patches or do something in that respect?
That sounds like something that we could do, because even in the clans, like, you can create your own clan logo.
Banner.
And some of these symbols that we can choose are based off of clan achievements. Now, if we have a set amount of achievements that unlock certain, I don't know, little design things that we could add to the patch, I think that's totally viable. That'd be pretty cool. So right now, patches show off our achievements.
They do. And I reckon that's where that was tied to. I think there's going to be a lot more we can do with patches since day one as well. I was like, why can't we upload our own clan patches and stuff for our clans? And it'd be nice. I get what you're saying there. Cosmetics are always about microtransactions. They're not always just about that though. The Division does it great. They give you a lot for free or as part of the season. They give you a lot where you could just work on. And if they're thinking about showing off your accomplishments, that's not going to be microtransaction at all. That's going to be in-game accomplishments, unlocking stuff that you can then show off. So I'm interested by this. It was big enough for them to announce it as a big thing that's coming this season. And it's coming with the DLC. It's coming with that. So why delay it to come with that is a sort of question I get. Could that have not been done sooner?
Could be something like dog tags that people can inspect, maybe. So a bit like when you're checking people's stats out. Maybe, and you can see what like their commendation level are. Maybe you can, I don't know, you could wear a dog tag that says that you've completed 400 iron horses, or it could be something like that.
Yeah.
If you're not going down the paid route. Or it could be something as simple as you can put a hood up now with hunter masks. I think that would get 1,000% people back into the game.
that's everybody, is it? I think everybody. That's a 100% yes from the community. Hoods up or hats or something on hunter masks.
Hoods up, down, sleeves up, down, hats forward, backwards.
There's something like that. It could be.
I like that.
I think it's little, isn't it? It's little, but it's something that for some people has a big effect on. People love this side. I even like it. Z loves it. Some people couldn't care less. They've had the same outfit on for 5 years. So it's like, it's one of them. I don't think it's controversial at all. It's probably one of them that'll just be implemented and people are very happy with it and we'll move on.
But then they got really hyped, didn't they, about transmog? They were like, this is something the community has been asking for years. And so everyone was like, yes, this is happening, this is happening. It was like, transmog. And literally, like, Twitter was, who's asking for this? Please show me that.
So many people were asking though, weren't they? Like, people wanted that.
I didn't ask for it. I didn't want it. I got it.
I didn't know it existed.
So, I mean, I transmog everything that I have. And give me the gear set that looks like there's barely anything on. Increase the visibility. I don't want that Petrov backpack just blocking everyone's line of sight because it's a mile long. I mean, I think transmog was good, and if that's a sign of things to come, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. I'm hopeful too. I think that's something good. I think the big talking point of this is obviously Seasons 2.0. We've spoken at length about that. I think we've covered everything announced for Year 6. Dove into a bit of story there as well with the DLC. I've enjoyed this podcast session, enjoyed doing it live. Anything to add to close this off now? Because I think we're nearly an hour and a half in and we're there, guys.
Baylau's alive.
Baylau's alive. Whisper it like she did in the Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah, she's alive.
I don't know if she is.
I don't either, but I still believe.
That's good. That was awesome. We'll be back. We've got the next podcast is going to be a super fun one. I was meant to go before this one. We are going to be doing an exotic tier list live on podcast with you guys, talking through every exotic in the game and putting it in a tier. So that's going to be fun when it gets to the rugged gloves.
Can we have a trash section?
We'll have a trash
just so
tier.
I can say, and that's trash.
Yeah. Trash section. And then, I don't know, God tier, whatever tier. We're going to be doing that very, very soon. I look forward to that. We're doing that with you guys. I'm sure that's going to have a lot of debate as well, but hopefully fun debate. Thanks for tuning into this one. It was epic. We'll see you next time.